Amazon was never just a store. Most people think Amazon is an e-commerce company, a place to buy products, order electronics, stream movies, receive packages quickly. But Amazon was never just a store. Jeff Bezos was not simply building an online retailer. He was building infrastructure. Infrastructure for commerce, logistics, cloud computing, consumer behavior, digital dependency, information systems, modern convenience itself. And once you understand what Amazon actually became, you begin realizing something disturbing. Amazon quietly transformed from a company into one of the most powerful systems on Earth. Because the real goal was never selling books. The real goal was controlling the flow of modern life. Jeff Bezos understood the internet early. In the early 1990s, the internet still looked unimportant. Slow connections, primitive websites, tiny online communities. Most corporations ignored it completely. But Jeff Bezos saw something others did not. He saw exponential growth. While working at a hedge fund, Bezos discovered internet usage was growing at extraordinary speed, thousands of % annually. And he immediately recognized something critical. The internet was not simply another technology. It was a new layer of civilization, a new infrastructure for human behavior itself. And whoever controlled that infrastructure early could potentially dominate entire industries later. That realization changed Bezos forever. Amazon started with books for a reason. Most people think Amazon sold books because Bezos loved literature. But books solved a logistical problem. There were millions of titles available, far too many for physical bookstores to stock efficiently, which made books perfect for online commerce. Amazon could offer massive selection, lower costs, centralized inventory, infinite digital shelf space, and consumers loved it. But books were only the beginning, because Bezos understood something deeper. Once consumers trusted Amazon, Amazon could sell them almost anything. And once consumer habits formed, those habits became incredibly difficult to break. Amazon sacrificed profits to build scale. One of the strangest things about Amazon was how long the company avoided profits. For years, many investors thought Amazon made no sense. The company continuously reinvested revenue, expanded aggressively, built warehouses, hired engineers, optimized logistics, entered new industries. Traditional businesses focused on quarterly profits. Bezos focused on domination. He understood something many executives did not. Scale creates power, especially in digital systems. Because once a platform becomes large enough, it becomes increasingly difficult to compete against. More users create more data, more efficiency, lower costs, stronger network effects, faster logistics, greater market influence. Amazon was burning money to build infrastructure, and infrastructure compounds. Jeff Bezos became obsessed with convenience. Convenience may be one of the most underestimated forces in capitalism. Humans naturally optimize toward speed, ease, reduced friction, lower effort. Bezos understood this deeply, which is why Amazon became obsessed with one-click ordering, fast shipping, frictionless checkout, personalized recommendations, infinite selection. The easier Amazon became, the more consumers depended on it. And dependency creates power, because eventually, consumers stop comparing alternatives. Amazon simply becomes default behavior. This is how systems quietly dominate civilization. Not through force, through convenience. Prime changed consumer psychology. Amazon Prime may have been one of the most psychologically powerful business decisions in modern history. At first, free shipping sounded simple. But Prime fundamentally altered consumer behavior. Because once customers paid the subscription, their psychology changed. People naturally wanted to justify the membership, which increased purchase frequency, platform loyalty, ecosystem dependency. Prime transformed Amazon from a store people occasionally visited into a system consumers continuously lived inside. And once behavior becomes habitual, switching becomes psychologically difficult. This is one reason Amazon became so dominant. It was not merely selling products, it was engineering habits. Amazon quietly built a logistics empire. Most people see Amazon packages arriving at their doors. What they do not see is the enormous infrastructure underneath. Warehouses, robotics, sorting centers, delivery systems, cargo planes, data systems, predictive algorithms. Amazon built one of the largest logistics networks in human history. Why? Because controlling logistics means controlling speed. And controlling speed changes competition entirely. Traditional retailers depended on storefronts, local inventory, slower supply chains. Amazon centralized everything, then optimized it endlessly through data. Every click, every order, every search, every delay. The system continuously learned. And the more people used Amazon, the stronger the system became. Scale fed intelligence. Intelligence improved efficiency. Efficiency accelerated scale. AWS quietly changed the internet. Most people still think Amazon's main business is shopping. But one of Amazon's most important businesses became invisible. Amazon Web Services, AWS. Cloud computing changed the internet fundamentally. Instead of companies building expensive physical servers, they could rent computing power from Amazon instantly, which meant startups scaled faster, websites launched cheaper, digital businesses expanded globally, and soon, huge portions of the internet quietly depended on Amazon infrastructure. Streaming services, apps, corporate platforms, government systems, AI companies, media companies. Many modern digital systems now run through Amazon servers, which means Amazon evolved from an online retailer into critical infrastructure for the internet itself. This dramatically increased Bezos's power, because infrastructure creates dependency, and dependency creates leverage. Amazon learned human behavior at massive scale. One of the most valuable resources in modern civilization is behavioral data. Amazon learned what people buy, when they buy, how they search, what influences decisions, what creates impulse purchases, what pricing changes behavior at extraordinary scale. This allowed Amazon to optimize recommendations, advertising, pricing, inventory, engagement, purchasing psychology. The company became increasingly algorithmic, increasingly predictive, increasingly intelligent. And once systems understand human behavior deeply enough, they can influence behavior more effectively. This is one reason modern technology companies became so powerful. They do not merely serve consumers, they study consumers continuously. Amazon created a new kind of corporate culture. Jeff Bezos became famous for extreme standards. Amazon developed a culture obsessed with efficiency, metrics, performance, relentless optimization. Employees often described intense pressure, brutal expectations, constant measurement. Why? Because Bezos believed inefficiency was weakness. And in hyper-competitive systems, small inefficiencies compound massively over time. Amazon treated operations almost like engineering problems. Everything became measurable. Everything became optimized. This helped Amazon scale rapidly. But it also created criticism, because optimization without balance can become psychologically exhausting. And some critics argued Amazon increasingly optimized humans like machines. Bezos understood long-term thinking better than most CEOs. One of Bezos's greatest advantages was patience. Most corporations optimize for quarterly earnings, short-term investor reactions, immediate profits. Bezos optimized for decades. This allowed Amazon to enter industries early, tolerate losses longer, build infrastructure competitors avoided, dominate emerging markets slowly. The market often rewards short-term thinking, but civilization-scale companies often require long-term vision. Bezos understood this deeply, which is why Amazon continuously expanded into healthcare, entertainment, AI, logistics, cloud computing, robotics, smart devices. The company was not thinking like a retailer. It was thinking like infrastructure. Amazon quietly reshaped small business. One of the darkest effects of Amazon was its impact on smaller competitors. Local retailers struggled to compete against lower prices, massive logistics, convenience, prime shipping, algorithmic recommendations, and many businesses became dependent on Amazon itself. Sellers increasingly relied on Amazon's marketplace to survive, which gave Amazon enormous influence over visibility, pricing, distribution, consumer access. This created a strange paradox. Amazon empowered many businesses, but also made many businesses dependent. And dependency creates vulnerability, especially when platforms become large enough to shape entire markets. The real product was control over flow. Perhaps the most important thing to understand about Amazon is that the real product was never products. The real product was flow. Flow of goods, data, consumer behavior, cloud infrastructure, logistics, attention, digital dependency. Amazon inserted itself into more and more layers of daily life, quietly, gradually, systematically. And because the company improved convenience continuously, most consumers welcomed it willingly. This is how modern power often works. Not through visible domination, but through invisible integration. Jeff Bezos understood that infrastructure creates power. Throughout history, the entities controlling infrastructure often became extraordinarily powerful. Railroads, oil pipelines, telecommunications, electricity grids, financial systems. Modern civilization increasingly runs on digital infrastructure, and Amazon became one of its most important operators. This means Amazon's influence extends far beyond retail, into cloud systems, AI infrastructure, logistics, commerce, consumer psychology, digital behavior. And this creates enormous concentration of power. Because infrastructure naturally centralizes influence, the more society depends on a system, the more powerful that system becomes. The dark truth about Amazon. The dark truth about Amazon is not that it became successful. It is how deeply it integrated itself into civilization. Amazon did not merely sell products. It reshaped consumer expectations, logistics, cloud computing, digital infrastructure, shopping behavior, convenience psychology, and Jeff Bezos understood something most people still underestimate. Control over infrastructure often matters more than control over products, because infrastructure shapes behavior at scale. The modern economy increasingly rewards scale, data, systems, logistics, automation, dependency creation, and Amazon mastered all of them, perhaps better than almost any company in modern history. Because Amazon was never just a store. It became a behavioral system, a logistics empire, and one of the most powerful infrastructures of modern civilization. Subscribe to Wealth OS for more documentaries on wealth, power, technology, money psychology, AI, and the hidden systems shaping the modern world.